What is going on, everybody? You got Matty Brollic here, and I am back, ladies and gentlemen, for Week 12, the last week of the regular season in the National Pokeball League, and it is time, because it is time to play against IronFlashGaming, the BBC King himself. This has been a long time coming. We met, I don't know, maybe like 7-8 months ago or something like that. And ever since then, we've always just been watching each other play, whether we're in the same league or just affiliated with the same leagues. We've just always been, following each other and watching each other play, becoming good friends. And yeah, I've learned so much from him in the format. I've probably learned more from him than I have from anyone else in the format. I'm just definitely captivated by the way he builds and plays and all things like that. He just has a really, really unique thought process that is very advanced, and it helped me definitely get to where I am at the moment in the format. So really got to give him a big shout out for that, because like I said, he just helped me improve so much. And I know he helps a lot of other people improve as well, whether he actually hands-on helps them or if they just watch his videos and learn a lot from the things that he does. So a phenomenal player, definitely in a league of his own. A lot of people consider him, Gypsy King, and myself to be on that level of just top draft league players that are kind of above the rest of the pack at the moment. I mean, that's obviously super subjective, but I guess we've just been consistent in some of the toughest leagues in recent times. We've been so consistent that it's kind of hard to argue, but yeah, it's without a doubt, he's definitely in that. He's definitely on that level. There's really no denying that he is that good. So I've been waiting for this for a long time, and that was one of the things I was most excited about when I picked up Dallas's team, because I knew I'd get a chance to play him regardless of whether we have to meet in the playoffs or anything like that. In the CPC, we were in the same league, but he was in the opposite conference, and the only way we could play is if we both made it to the championship, and I didn't make it, obviously, and he won the championship. So that just goes to show how good he is, because he basically went undefeated in that league and just kind of won the championship. So that's pretty ridiculous. And yeah, so now he joined the NPL, is guaranteed to have the number one seed. There may be Abe who may edge him out in differential or something like that. I'm not sure, but I don't think Abe could beat his record, because Zazo going into this game has 9 wins. So if he wins, he'll have 10 wins and only 2 losses, and if he loses, he'll be 9-3, which is still an incredible record, considering it's Pokemon. Obviously, things happen, and sometimes you get unlucky, sometimes you just don't have a great matchup, whatever it is. So anyway, enough rambling. I'll try to get into the game a little bit more. There's a decent chance that him and I will play in the playoffs, because we won't face each other first round. But if we both win our first round games and we face each other, so I guess you could say that's fairly likely, just because we'd be the favorites to win our games. But you never know, obviously, especially with me. Either getting hacked or just doing something stupid and choking on the high level games, because for some reason I just can't seem to grab a championship or anything like that. But whatever it is, we have a decent chance to play in the playoffs. So we knew it would be best to not bring our absolute best teams for this game, but we knew that we really didn't want to pass up this opportunity to have a good game. So we built something that we knew would be good and effective against our opponent, and it would give us the opportunity to have that good game that we've been wanting to have. So I was kind of struggling for this game, because originally I had a really nice matchup against his team, but then he picked up Zygarde and Celesteela. Now, Zygarde's probably one of, if not the best Pokemon against my team. It was a Pokemon that I was really glad I didn't have to face this season, because the only way I'd have to face it was if I went against either Trev, who had Zygarde 50, or Sebastian, who has Zygarde 10% in the championship. Those are the only ways I'd have to play Zygarde. So I was really happy that I didn't have to play it either at all or until the championship. But unfortunately, Anthony picked it up, and now he's got that, and he also has Celesteela, which is just an amazing Pokemon. It's quite good against my team, and his team was not particularly, but he definitely kind of struggled with Landorus Therian, and that's a very nice check to have. So it definitely helps him play around. It definitely gives him a lot of different ways he could build around it. So yeah, it's very, very helpful for him, especially because he traded for a Registeel. So yeah, huge trade for him. And then he's just got crazy good Pokemon. Like, he's got Mew, which he didn't even bring to this game. He's got obviously Volcanion, you see there, Mega Heracross, you see there. He didn't bring his Thunderous Eye, which is another major threat. So he's got some absolutely really powerful Pokemon. And then the rest of his team is just good. He has Snorlax, Cofagrigus, Silvally, Stunfisk the God, and a couple others. So incredibly threatening team. And as you can see here, this is what I brought to check what he could bring. I did not bring Magearna for this game. I actually don't really love Magearna's matchup here. As good as Magearna is, and even though it has a good matchup against pretty much every team with a certain set, I'm just not sure that it matches up well against Anthony. So I did not bring it. I brought some pretty cool sets, though. Just definitely a really offensive team. The BBC King against the BBC Queen over here. At Team Preview, I noticed that he has a Kabutops, which I was not really expecting him to bring, but now that I see that, I'm thinking this could be a Sash Stealth Rock lead, which could be bad for me. But I completely blanked because I have Taunt on my Azelf, but I completely blanked that I have Taunt on my Cobalion as well. And my original game plan was to lead with my Charizard, so I was like, you know what, let me just hope that he is not lead Kabutops. And maybe we'll go from there because I completely blanked that Cobalion didn't have Taunt. I definitely should have let off with it because, as you're going to see, it puts me in a little bit of an awkward spot. I lead with my Mega Charizard X as he leads with Kabutops. I have to go for Flare Blitz here because I don't have Dragon Claw. I have Outrage. So I can, what's it called? I can break the Sash here. If I lock myself in Outrage, then he, gets knocked down to his Sash, gets the weak armor boost, speed boost, and then can knock me out with Stone Edge. So I couldn't Outrage there. I just wanted to break the Sash because if I could do that, I could pivot into Cobalion on the next turn, and I could get my Mega off of Charizard because I don't have Hazard removal here, and he knows that. The only thing I could have is Defog Charizard, and obviously it's kind of counterproductive because I need to take 4 times damage coming into rocks if I don't Mega Evolve. So that's why I really just stayed in here, even though I knew Flare Blitz would do nothing. But let me explain something. So he gets up his rocks as he gets the defense lower and the +2 speed. So now from here, he could just stay in Stone Edge here, but what happened was we started the game earlier, and I burned his Kabutops, and then I got lucky on the turn after that. So we were I was like, no, let's restart. What we could do is you could just make the same switch with Kabutops. We could act like maybe you still have the burn and make that same switch because, okay, getting the burn isn't too big of a deal. And he actually made a switch that put him in a better position than he would have, been had he stayed in here to Stone Edge. So that actually works out for him more. So as you're going to see, he goes into his Heracross, and I go into Cobalion. In that previous game, that is what he did. He went into Heracross, predicted my Cobalion, and that's even better for him than it had he stayed in with his Kabutops right there to Stone Edge. So I go into Cobalion here, and I just really want to damage this Heracross because if it's a bulky set, it's kind of out of range of everything on my team except for Charizard X, which he could play around with Kabutops because he's got that weak armor, so he could come in on a fire move. And if I go for a dragon move, either he could stay in and knock me out, or go into Celesteela, or whatever he wants to do. So here I'm just gonna go right for the Life Orb Zen Headbutt. Yes, that's right, Life Orb offensive Cobalion. That does not even do half. Heracross is so bulky as he goes for the sub. So now I just want to break the sub as he goes for the Earthquake and he knocks me out. So here I'm gonna go into my Azelf as I am going to click Psychic here, knowing that he's probably not going to want to switch out because if he goes into something like Volcanion or Zygarde or Roserade, they're obviously going to take tons of damage. Same thing, Kabutops are going to take tons from Psychic, and I could easily go for Thunderbolt here. So if I do that and he goes to Celesteela, then that's going to be kind of bad for him because his Heracross is pretty weakened. I can revenge it with pretty much everything on my team. So I know he's going to stay in there. Don't want to reveal anything, so I just go right for the Life Orb Psychic. Now, he goes right into his Celesteela here. I don't want to play around with this thing. A Scarf Celesteela could actually be really threatening, even though he says don't use Scarf because he's making a joke about how Trev Scarf Celesteela missed the Stone Edge against him. So I just go right into my Rotom here. I know that he could have Energy Ball or Giga Drain, but I am specially defensive, so I know I can eat one up. It's not too big of a deal, and I do not want to stay in and lose my Azelf. I can't risk going Charizard in case he goes for something like Air Slash or Acrobatics or something. And Landorus is not a good switch in, especially for what I need Landorus to do against the rest of his team. So I need to go Rotom here as he does hit me with that Energy Ball, and that reveals that he is offensive with all that damage. So here I am just going to go right into my Charizard because I know he's either going to go right for the Energy Ball or go to Roserade. Now, I figured he would just stay in there and go for the Energy Ball if he was Scarf. That's one of the main reasons I had to go to Charizard because Scarf Celesteal is a threat, but... Or even if he was Autotomized, because he can go for the Autotomized there, and then potentially, if I stay in with Rotom to go for like Will-O-Wisp, predicting his Roserade to come in, then he could, knock out my Rotom, and then pretty much just sweep my team. So that's why I went hard right into Charizard right there, as I knew from here he would not be able to OHKO me, unless he was like physical with Earthquake, which I don't think he's going to be. Not saying he can't have Earthquake, but I don't think he'd be physical attacker with how much damage Energy Ball did. So here, on the Roserade, I'm like, you know what? There's a decent chance that this is Scarfed. He could have been going into this knowing I'd either go into Zard or stay in with Rotom to like Will-O-Wisp or something. So because of that, he may have gone right into the Roserade to catch my Charizard with an HP ground, because that's definitely going to knock me out with a Technician boost. So I'm going to Scout and go right into my Landorus T here, as I do get him on that prediction, because he does go for the HP ground. So here, I thought about this play for a while. I could just go for Earthquake here. I am offensive, so there's a good chance that I can knock out the Roserade, depending on the set. Like, even if he is max HP, then Earthquake has a really good chance to kill. And if he's not, or if he's max HP with some defense, then I don't have a good chance to kill, but I don't know the set. So I could just go for Earthquake here, but I'm looking at his team, and these rocks are actually really, really nice against him, because, for example, something like Volcanion could die to Zard if it's not physically defensive from an Outrage. And Celesteela is something I really need damage on to potentially win or clean with things like Charizard as well. Meloetta, once you see the set, and Azelf. So here, I'm just going to go for my Stealth Rocks, as he does just stay in. And this Giga Drain reveals to me that he is offensive and that he's most likely modest. So with that damage, I'm like, you know what? Because he's modest, I know that I could probably knock him out with an Earthquake. He'd have to be like modest with some defense and max HP, which I'm not fully expecting. I would imagine that he'd have some speed at least. So with that being said, I could just knock him out with Earthquake, but I probably should go for Stone Edge, because if he goes into Celesteela, that damage could be really, really nice on that thing. So I'm like so tempted to click Stone Edge, but I'm like, you know what? Like, if he's a bulky Roserade, or if he just kind of catches me on that and I lose my Landorus, I lose a sack, and that's actually pretty bad for me. So I'm just going to go right for the Earthquake, because I'm highly confident this will kill. And if he does go Celesteela, it's not the worst thing in the world. So here I'm going to go right for the Earthquake, as he does go into Celesteela. So had I made that play, I would have been in a better position. But regardless, I think I stand by my play, because had I did stay in and he knocked me out there, I would have been in a really bad spot, as opposed to like an okay spot. So here I'm just going to go into my Rotom, because there's a good chance that he'd Air Slash here, because if I go to something like Charizard, Meloetta, Azelf, something like that, I could easily live Energy Balls where Air Slash would do a lot more damage, but especially the Charizard, because if I go into Charizard, I'll probably die to the Air Slash after the rocks. So that's the last thing I want. My Rotom isn't even that important anymore, because he's got Roserade, he's got Zygarde, Kabutops probably outspeeds me, and what's it called? The only thing it's really for is Volcanion, which I can't switch into anymore at this range of HP. So I'm definitely going to go Rotom, and he does Air Slash, which is actually good for me, because here I am out of range of the... What's it called? I'm out of range of the another Air Slash. So here I could just go right for a Will-O-Wisp, because either he Energy Balls and I get some chip damage off on him, or he goes Roserade. I was really tempted to Volt Switch, but I'm like, you know what? I don't lose too much by Will-O-Wisping here, because I could just get some chip on everything. And if he goes right Zygarde, I could be in trouble. So here he goes right for the Sludge Bomb. As here I can go into my Charizard X, as I'm just going to click Outrage, because from here, what's it called? Judging by the fact that the Celesteela is offensive, there is a good chance that I 2-hit KO this Celesteela with Outrage. So I'm just going to go right for the Outrage, as he goes into Kabutops, and I do knock him out. So now he goes into his Volcanion, and I do the calc, and there's a very good chance I knock him out, but he barely lives. And he told me about what the set was afterwards, and this roll actually was in his favor. So had he been more offensive, then I would have been in a really nice spot, because I would have had a great chance to kill him right there, like above 90% chance. But because of his spread, I had a really low chance to kill. So that being said, I don't know what his spread is still, because I know that like that damage that I did is, it is indicative of the fact that he may not have a lot of bulk. Like he may just have like a little bit of HP or even none at all, and I just got a like min roll or something like that. So I don't know the exact roll. It turns out that I got a high roll, but because I don't know the roll, then I'm figuring that he's faster than my Azolf at this point, but he's actually running so much HP that he doesn't even outspeed my Azolf. He just knows that I wouldn't risk something like that. So very good prep on his part as he goes for the Flame Charge, which puts him at +1. It means that he's guaranteed to get a kill here. As now I'm going to switch out and sack my Landorus. There's no reason for him to stay in here. I need to go for like another Flame Charge or something like that. As here I'm able to knock him out. As now I can go into my Meloetta. I know I could live a Steam Eruption and I can get off. As you're going to see, he actually crits me with the Steam Eruption, but thankfully he does not burn as I hit him with the Relic Song. And that allows me to evolve into, or not evolve, or just, you know, change forms into Meloetta Pirouette. So now, the one thing that was kind of bad about that crit, I thought at first, was that, what's it called? That I would be in range of Zygarde's Extreme Speed, but the fact that he goes into Celesteela doesn't confirm, but definitely makes it seem like he doesn't have Extreme Speed, but, what's it called? He actually did tell me that he doesn't have Extreme Speed because he was just trying to like say how like the crit didn't matter because everything would have been able to revenge it after the Steam Eruption damage anyway. But Extreme Speed wouldn't have, but he was like, no, like I don't have Extreme Speed. So, yeah. I do know that he doesn't have Extreme Speed at this point, but I pretty much would have figured it out by the fact that he went into Celesteela because he really doesn't lose anything by going into Zygarde if he has Extreme Speed, because he could just go for Extreme Speed and clean up the game because Charizard will go down to Extreme Speed, Meloetta will, and then Azolf cannot even kill Zygarde with like an Ice Punch or an HP Ice or something like that. So if he had Extreme Speed, he pretty much just cleaned the game up at this point. So I know he doesn't have that. And now if this is Scarf Celesteela, it just wins by clicking Air Slash right here. Even maybe Flash Cannon, because that probably kills Charizard after Stealth Rocks too, if he does have it. So because this thing may be scarfed, I was thinking of going for Close Combat to put it in guaranteed range of like an Outrage from Charizard, but I'm like, you know what? I need to go for the knockoff here because I outspeed Scarf Celesteela, and if I do catch him with the knockoff here, then what's it called? If I do catch him with the knockoff here, then I will have a chance to win this game, because if I knock him off here, then I could potentially win with the combination of Azolf. All I need to do is weaken this Celesteela to make sure that it gets a little more damage, so then Outrage could literally just sweep his whole team from here. So I'm going to go right for the knockoff, as it does solid damage, reveals that he's got a decent amount of HP, but he's actually an Akaberry Celesteela, as now I can go right into Azolf. He has no reason to switch here, so I'm just going to go right for the Thunderbolt, as I do knock him out, as now he could easily just go right into his Zygarde. So here, it kind of comes down to some plays. Now, he does not know I have Taunt. I did not reveal it so far. I figured, you know, when I first looked at the matchup, I said, okay, if that's a Sash Stealth Rock Kabutops, I could Taunt with my Azolf, but then I was like, you know what? I don't want to, because I really don't want to take damage with my Azolf, because if I lead with it, it's going to be kind of predictable. And if I do go for that Taunt and he gets tons of damage off of Stone Edge, or even a crit and knocks me out, then that is one of my win cons knocked out, which would be very, very detrimental to me. So I cannot really afford to let that happen. So here, he does not lose too much by going Dragon Dance. It kind of depends on his set. If he has a Habanberry, which is very plausible here because his team just really struggles switching into offensive Charizard, then he loses absolutely nothing by going Dragon Dance here, because if I do taunt him, then he could switch out, sack Roserade, and then come back into Zygarde and force a 50-50, because I don't know he has Habanberry for sure, but at least he could put it up in the air and make it a 50-50 regardless, because even if I know he has it, it's still a 50-50, and I still need to guess right. So I know that I should probably go for Taunt here, because he's most likely going to Dragon Dance if he has it, and if he doesn't have Dragon Dance, and he's like a bulky set, he will not be able to knock me out with 1,000 arrows here, and I can get the necessary damage to put him in range of Outrage, even if he is Habanberry with Zygarde. So I am going to go for the Taunt right here, and thankfully he does go for the Dragon Dance, as now if he is Habanberry, he is going to switch. If he's not Habanberry, or well, either way, it's his right play to switch. If he's not Habanberry, then it doesn't really matter. Like, he could just stay in and what's it called? He could just stay in and let me Psychic here and then sweep with Outrage, but his best play is to switch regardless, because if he does switch, it forces me to think that he may have Habanberry, and it will make me potentially either want to attack him as he goes for Dragon Dance, or go for Taunt again as he attacks, and then he could live the Outrage with Habanberry and knock me out for the win. So his play is definitely to switch here. So he switches out, and now that's screaming to me that he's either trying to bluff Habanberry or that he has Habanberry. So he goes into Roserade as I knock him out with Azelf, and he goes into Zygarde. So it all comes down to this. If he goes for Dragon Dance and I Taunt, I win. If he goes for Dragon Dance and I Psychic, I lose. So it's a huge 50-50 because I don't know that he has Habanberry, or if he has Habanberry or not. Only he knows. If I go for Taunt, which is the obvious play because he could just be trying to bluff, and it worked last time and I could easily just sweep him with Outrage, then if he goes for 1,000 arrows, he will win because not even a crit Outrage will knock him out. If knowing what his spread was after the match, I don't even think a crit Outrage can knock him out, and even so, it still needs a crit. So, yeah, there's that. And if he goes for, what's it called? If I go for Psychic and he does Dragon Dance, then he will absolutely be able to outspeed both Charizard and Azelf, and he'll be able to sweep my team. So, my thought process here was just, it really just kind of came down to a guessing game, because I just figured, okay, he either has Habanberry or he's bluffing it. So, with him bluffing it, or with him, forcing this 50-50, I am going to just click Psychic here, because Taunt definitely seems like the obvious play to win, and it also kind of seems like he's trying to get me to go for Psychic. So I would go for Taunt, and then he would attack me. So I'm just going to go for Psychic anyway, because maybe he's thinking like another step ahead. And because of that, I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to stick with my gut, go with Psychic this turn, because it just seems like Taunt is the optimal route for the win. But I am going to just call him out on having the Habanberry, and I'm going to go for the Psychic, as I am going to expect him to attack. And it all comes down to this, as he does go for the 1,000 arrows, and that does seal up the game for me, unless he lied about the extreme speed, which obviously he did not, because he would have been able to just clean up the game before with the Meloetta, or when my Meloetta was really low. As we do pick up the very, very narrow 1-0 victory in one of the, if not the best draft format games I have ever played in. That was a hell of a match. That was really, really awesome, really fun. It definitely started out on the back foot by not leading with Kabali in there, but I was able to just string together the right plays towards the end that allowed me to put myself in the position to win. Because even, for example, say he attacked my Azelf as I went for Taunt on the Dragon Dance, then he just won right there as well. So there was that, and there were a few plays before it as well, like going for, what's it called? Like preserving my Charizard, sacking the Landorus, setting up my Meloetta when I did, allowing me to get the knockoff on the Celesteela. Yeah, really just came down to a lot of thinking, a lot of calcing. We took a while to play this game because we really wanted to give each other the match that we knew we could give each other, because we're on that level together, and it's not too often where you get to see guys like IronFlashGaming, Gypsy King, and myself really get to go at it. I have been able to play Gypsy 4 times now, I believe, officially. Some of the CPC ones, though, they weren't taken as seriously. So, those were just kind of more for fun, where we played twice in the NPL, and this was my first time ever playing Zazo in a league. So that was definitely exciting, and I'm really glad we got that chance, because now we have a good chance to play in the playoffs. But regardless of whether I win or lose, or whether he wins or loses first round, whether we don't get to play each other or not, just really glad that we got to have this good of a game, because it was so much fun, and it was definitely epic. And yeah, it was just a heck of a season for me, even though there were a lot of downs this season with a lot of negativity that bothered me. I could happily say that I feel like I had a pseudo-perfect season, because I came in at 1-3 with Dallas's record, and I won every single game except for the one against Danza, which I do believe that had I not gotten haxed, I would have won that one as well. So That's why I say pseudo-perfect, because then I basically would have just gone undefeated for the regular season. And it's just so cool to me because I literally got to play everyone that I wanted to play except for maybe Sebastian, top tier boy, because he's in the other conference. Maybe I can meet him in the championship or something like that. I don't know. But I was just really happy that I got to play Jolt. I never played him before. Togue, I never played him before. Unfortunately, that one wasn't super clean either. It wasn't clean at all. But, I do think I also would have been in a good position there had I not gotten hacks earlier on, because obviously I needed hacks to bail me out later on in that match. But I do think I would have been in the better spot had I not gotten hacks. Then I had a good game with Jolt. I had a clean game with Gypsy King, a clean game with Merc. Anyone else that I'm forgetting? A clean game with Blake, who I also never got the chance to play before this. So Carney as well. We had a really good game with Carney. So yeah, I really got a chance to play a lot of new people I never got to play. And I was just really happy with this season because when I first got the team, even though it was a great team, there were just a lot of Pokemon I had no experience using. So I did not see myself even having that good of a shot at playoffs. And the fact that I beat everyone that I wanted to beat definitely makes me really happy. Because, yeah, we put that effort in and it came to fruition. So, like I said, Anthony and I did not put in our full efforts with building these teams. So, obviously, for the playoffs, we could have something even better than this in terms of our teams. I doubt the game will be as good as this just because this was such a sick and close game. But, who knows? He could end up kicking my butt in the playoffs, or we could end up having another good game. You never know. But I'm just, like I said, really grateful that we were able to have this cool of a game and epic of a match for the first time that we got to play, because I don't know how much longer either of us are going to take this seriously anymore, because we're kind of burnt out of all this draft league stuff. As much as we love it, it's just kind of like a part-time job. It really kind of wears you out and stuff like that, especially with the negativity I've been experiencing this season. I'm just really not so sure I want to be a part of that anymore. So, yeah, with that being said, I will end it here. Sorry for all the rambling. It was just a really epic match, and I wanted to definitely describe it well. So, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Definitely go check out IronFlashGaming's channel because, like I said, he's just a next-level player and very funny guy, so you're going to enjoy his content. Playoffs coming up soon. I will be going on vacation for spring break, so my playoff game will probably be delayed a week or so, or half a week or so. So, I said so a lot in that sentence. Yes, so I can't stop saying it. More NPL content to be uploaded soon in the future for the playoffs, and then March Madness is also around the corner. So I hope you guys did enjoy this epic match, like I already mentioned, and most importantly, have yourselves a fantastic day, as I will see you all in the next one. Later.